The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I'm pleased to yield 4 minutes to the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Smith.
Gentleman from New Jersey is recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I thank my good friend for yielding, and I thank Chairman Meeks, both of you, for your extraordinary leadership on this important bill that's before us today. I want to thank you for your eloquent remarks a moment ago, summarizing the absolute atrocities that are being committed by Vladimir Putin and his military, and Lukashenko, who is enabler, the president of Belarus. You have described in vivid detail just how horrific this is. And as I think my good friend from Texas said a moment ago, my father fought in World War II as well in the South Pacific. But the crimes that were committed by Imperial Japan and by the Nazis are now being replicated on a grand scale by Vladimir Putin, and it has to stop. It has to stop yesterday. So I rise in strong support of this legislation. Madam Speaker, on March 8th, I chaired a hearing at the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission entitled Accountability for Russia's War Crimes and Aggression Against Ukraine. The day before, I also introduced a resolution calling for accountability for Vladimir Putin for his crimes against Ukrainian people and his aggression against Ukraine. The witnesses couldn't have been more clear that delay is denial, that we need to act now. I was very much involved with the court in the former Yugoslavia, very involved with the court for Sierra Leone, and David Crane led that effort, very involved with the Rwandan court, tried to get a court for Syria, but failed, and pushed hard for it with a resolution on this floor, and the House did pass it. But the key here is timeliness. Don't wait. The ICC, while it may do some good here, and they do have an investigation that they have instituted, the ICC has been notoriously slow. They have had less than 10 convictions over 20 years. Now, if that venue works, great. But my concern, and I think the concern shared by many, particularly in the NGO community, that there needs to be another venue stood up quickly that could make the difference. At the March hearing, David Crane, the founding prosecutor for the UN Special Court for Sierra Leone, talked about an international tribunal created by the United Nations General Assembly. We're all thinking, hey, when it gets to the Security Council will have 2 vetoes at least. It will be Russia and it will be China. Not so in the General Assembly, and they can stand up a court and they can do it tomorrow that would indict Vladimir Putin on the next day. There's certainly enough evidence. Keep building the evidence, of course, but there's enough evidence to do it right now. And that hopefully will tell everybody around him the time will come when you'll be in the dock as well. I remember meeting with Slobodan Milosevic in Serbia and going to Bosnia and Croatia many times during that horrific war in the Balkans. Time and time again, he thought he was untouchable. Total impunity because of that. And he killed so many because there was no accountability. Well, he went to The Hague as part of the Ad Hoc Tribunal, and he died while the proceedings were underway, but he would have been held to account. So I urge my colleagues to support this. We've already had one vote in the General Assembly, 141 out of 198 voted. A number of people abstained. You only need a simple majority. And I did ask our number 2 at the State Department, at Gregory Meeks' hearing earlier today, to take back to the administration the idea of look at all the venues, but let's get a court constituted immediately. If the ICC wants to step in at some point, fine. But indict Putin. Indict him. And you'll see some people running like rats from the ship who are a part of his regime, knowing that they too will be held accountable and sent to prison for the rest of their life. I yield back.